Hello everyone and happy 4th of July!
4th of July?
Welcome back to the Krown's Crypto Cave.
Well, welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. Wish you a very happy and healthy and relaxing 4th of July holiday for all of the celebrators out there. For anyone else who's not celebrating, well, happy Thursday. Hope you're having the best Thursday possible. And this is going to be the last stream from Helsinki, Finland in quite some time. So I do want to wish you a little bit of farewell. But we got plenty of very important Magic and Money business to get deep and down and dirty into before that. And I do want to say, because I will be traveling for today, and I will be essentially just moving to another country again across the transatlantic, connectivity will be limited. So if you are trying to reach me, I'll do my best to check in. But unfortunately, it's going to be one of those times where, you know, it's just going to be busy as fuck, as you probably already know. So with all of that said, I do want to wish you the best, the happiest of the happiest, and we'll initiate that teleportation and waste no more time talking about good old price action in the live scene. And yes, I wanted to remind myself to talk about this. I have all my programs on sale for the for the holiday throughout the weekend with the code, as you see down here, Freedom20 in all capitals, and that goes for all the payment plans, all programs. Of course, I should briefly explain this. The technical analysis program is an all-encompassing program focused on not just technical analysis, but also position management, risk management, understanding market dynamics, and then, of course, its own proprietary indicators. It's 35 hours plus long, which is a massive time commitment. It's also, massive financial commitment as well. So I always want to make sure that it's a good fit. If that doesn't sound like you, if you feel like you're, in any sort of a questionative mode, then it's probably not for you. These are really designed for people who want to take it one deeper, who want to do this in a more serious manner. Typically as a living, although not always, of course, and I'm not here to be like the arbiter of that, but my point is that it's going to be overkill for most people. So if that doesn't sound like you, just go with the free content. I do have a technical analysis 101 playlist on YouTube, which is 100% free, and that's probably going to get most of the people about where they want to go. So again, I'll let you make the decisions for yourself on that one. Check out the reviews, also the options program as well, which is just options, but 35, it's its own 35-hour plus long program. And then the Jewel indicators, which is not a 35-hour plus long program. It's just access to a few indicators, my proprietary indicators of 5 indicators, the Krown Trading DMI, the Krown Trading RSI, stochastics, and Jewel, of course, and Fibonacci, actually. So with all that said, I do want to get now into the actual analysis, and let's get this guy off and talk about some goddamn Magic and Money. And here we go. Bitcoin did close well above that red 10 simple moving average that we saw yesterday, and we did see the northern route taken, as we said, was more likely, and Bitcoin actually coming back down to retest this red 10 simple moving average right here. And I would say that from a higher time frame perspective, as long as we hold this area, I do still think that we have some upside. And the reason why I said it is because we do see our momentum oscillators actually starting to turn around or have a little bit of weakness here. This is your daily Stokes, and daily Stokes are right around the neutral zone, right in the middle of this bitch right now. And usually when I see a setup like that, it does offer up the chance for for it to kind of level out. And if we can actually cross this guy back up to the upside, then I would say that that's going to lead us on to a move towards 13,000. Very, 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 very likely. Of course, there would be targets along the way. It's not just going to be a straight shot there. But as Bitcoin kind of sells down a little bit more aggressively here, we might have that on hold. But here's what I can say a little bit more healthily. As long as Bitcoin is above this red 10 simple moving average, I do actually hold my position that I started yesterday. And it's the same position that I had yesterday, buying 150,000 contracts, December futures. This was done when spot charts were about at 10,500, 10,600, although, they have about a $400 to $500 premium on them. So my average price is going to be a little bit higher at 11,000. But just understand that, it's actually significantly lower. And I'm happy to hold this position as long as we're closing dailies above the red 10 simple. And I would say that we're likely to bounce off this guy on at least the very first pass. But would I wait for the daily to actually break this area? If I were to close this position, no, I could probably make the decision on a like a 2-hour, 4-hour. If we close anywhere below the breakout trend line that we spoke about yesterday night, right around here at about 11,500, I will be happy to take off this position and take profits on it and go back to neutral again. I will be traveling on a plane, so I do have stops in place, and I feel like sometimes perhaps I haven't done the best job of verbalizing what I do with stops. When I can't be at my computer, yes, of course I use stops, no doubt about it. But in this situation, no different. And the area of action will be 11,500 right here. Anywhere below there, any hourly 2-hour dildo close below there, I don't care what it is. I'd be happy to get the fuck out. And with that said, until that happens, I actually still do run with the assumption that this does have some more upside here, but probably going to take its time. Daily, as you can see, is just in a nice consolidation. We did hit our target to the upside of about 12,000. It looks like we got to 12,100 about, so pretty damn good move. And like I said, based off our 12-hour and daily, I do think that we have some more momentum on this one. 12-hour right here, 12-hour Stokes crossing back to the upside. We spoke about this yesterday, and this is also why I was kind of leaning to the up to this formation, breaking to the upside and taking that route to 12,000. And as you can see, we got plenty of room to roll. This has been a damn good indication of of just great trending action. With each and every crossover we've gotten for the past 6 months to the upside. But of course, it's not just because it's to the upside; it's because the macro trend is to the upside. So during the bear market of 2018. The bearish crosses on this were amazing, and now vice versa for 2019, or sorry, the most of 2019, I should say. Anyways, with regards to this, we got plenty of room to roll here. If we do get outside of the bearish control zone, I would say that that's going to be a damn good indication that we do, at the very least, test the edge of the bullish control zone, which would align with price action, probably testing the top of this blue box territory officially around 12,400. So that's what I'd be watching. We did regain the exponential on the RSI, which I do like. I want to see it tested here and hold it. If that does happen and we start to work our way into the bullish control zone, that will likely have carry on over into the daily. And as we spoke about the daily is weak to the downside right now. So if we did do that, then I'd imagine that does have follow through onto the daily, and we do get that to cross up, and then the target can be extended about to 13,000. So with all of that said, that is what I'd be thinking on right on over there. Now let's talk about the other scenario. What happens if this rally actually fails and we actually break back down below this critical horizontal trend line right here at about 11,500, the same one that we broke out yesterday night? At that point in time, I would be looking for a move back down to about 11,000 even. And here's where it gets a little bit tricky, because if this were to fail and we come down here, I don't think that we just stop there, although I do think that you get a little bit of a bounce here at 11,000 even. Probably would actually come back down to the low side of the range. 10,500 I think would be extremely likely, or perhaps 10,500, 10,600 would be a better way of saying it. And anywhere below there, then we are probably coming back down and making some new lows in the lower half of the 9,000. So that's what's at stake right now. I do lean to the upside, however. I am actually bullish here. I'm probably getting a little bit too much on the side of the bull tards. You never go full bull tard, as they say. Well, Jesus Christ, man, I've certainly been going full bull tard for the past 5-6 months. But that's the time to be a bull tard in a bull market. I mean, just like in a bear market of 2018, I was being called a bear tard all the time. Well, I'd rather be a bear tard in a bear market, and vice versa for a bull market. Again, I can't stress this enough. There's a great saying: a dumb bull will make much more money than a smart bear in a bull market. And right now, all higher time frames are in an uptrend, although technically we don't have a higher low still on the monthly, but you get my point. It's kind of more of a technicality right now. Lower time frames are getting a little bit tired here though, so I would say that Bitcoin actually does have a little bit of danger to be aware of, because we do see 4-hour and lower Stokes. Momentum oscillator starting to cross down. This is your 3-hour getting pretty well done up there. Here's our 2-hour coming down already. Here's our hourly also coming down. Typically when I see the hourly and 2-hour align with each other, we do get a trending move on those time frames. So this would likely align with a comeback down to 10,500, or sorry, not 10,000, 11,550. And I would be looking for a bounce there. It's not until we actually close an hourly little below there where I'd say that this is going to fail, and this was a little bit of a trap. But more importantly, with all of this, more importantly, the higher time frames just look like more consolidation to me. In fact, if we go over here to the 2-day, which we had a phenomenal close on the 2-day actually. The 2-day can come all the way back down to 11,000 and be completely fine. We are above all major moving averages on all of the higher time frames. I mean, here's your daily, here's your 2-day, here's your 3-day. In fact, the 2-day actually just switched around into a full-on perfect bullish posturing where we're above all major moving averages, and all of them are trading lower periods above higher periods, and they're all splayed out and gaining divergence away from each other, telling us that the trend is strengthening into the upside. So this is pretty damn powerful right here. We do see 2-day Stokes actually coming down, but price action right back where it started. I mean, we're actually a little bit higher than where we were on a closing basis. That's really good. That's actually really good action, and I would say that this is probably aligning with the 2-day Stokes getting picked back up around the edge of the bullish control zone. So maybe a little bit more down around here, which would align with the retest of the red 10 simple. But I'd be looking for that to get bought. So I do have a difficult time getting bearish here. I don't really have any real reason to be bearish on Bitcoin. and bearish is the wrong term, but like looking for significant downside. And when I say significant downside, I mean a move back into the 9,000s and perhaps lower. I have no reason to look for that as long as we are above the red 10 simple on the 2-day, which is about 10,900, 11,000 for all intents and purposes. If Bitcoin does crack down below there, then yes, we probably do have some problems. Daily below 10,500, or sorry, not even a daily, but even a 4-hour below 10,500, we probably do see that move play out. But for now, as you can see, it looks quite constructive here, and the higher time frame that we go actually, it looks okay. Funnily enough, we do see 2-day RSI, did have some major bearish divergence here, but I think that's mostly played out. We did have a move all the way down to the yellow 21, which was a nice 30% correction, about a little bit over 30%, about 32% right there. And this is pretty damn consistent with the way that Bitcoin likes to play out its corrections during an overall macro uptrend. On these very aggressive, on these very aggressive moves to the downside. So I always like to do this with the Joule, and the 3-day Joule is kind of how I'll line this up. But keep that number in mind, the 30% retracement. And going over here to the 3-day Joule, we see a very obvious signal when we get the light blue oscillator into this more critical zone outlined by these dotted red trend lines. And then when we get this red flashing in the background and they get a negative slope on that same light blue oscillator, that is when typically those 30% retracements, 30 to 40% retracements get called. So this is what I have my eyes on now going forwards here, just because we basically did have a 30% retracement being called without that actually happening, although we did have a few other indications. But just kind of give you an idea of what happens when we do get those indications pretty much each and every time. A 40% drop down right here, about a 44% drop down right there, about a 32% drop down right there. Sounds familiar. About a 32% drop down right there. Sounds probably familiar as well. Let's bring this back up, and so we can measure it. And another 35% drop down right there. You get the idea. And my point is that it seems to me that Bitcoin does have a knack for the 30 to 40% retracement in its in those overall uptrends. And then we're also having an indicator giving us very, very clear and obvious signals when that typically does happen. Although it is worth mentioning that on the last 30% drop down, while we did have a setup here, we technically did have a setup, I didn't see the light blue oscillator get into this zone right here. So I actually was not expecting that deep of a retracement on this past one. But what I'm looking for on the Joule now, and if you have access to the Joule, pay attention to this. I'm looking for the light blue to actually pop down and catch this white or yellow on your screen, perhaps as it is default, as support, and then get walked up into the zone, and that's going to set it up for the real retracement sometime later. But that would also imply that we actually have some upside to go first and foremost, and more importantly, it's going to take its time. I mean, shit, this is each and every tick here is 3 days worth of price action, so that could take that could still take a month or 2 or 3. Again, there's no real way to know, but until we actually get that light blue into that same territory, then there's really no, you can't really call it just yet. So that's what I have tentatively my eyes on for the next big retracement. But overall, we do see a few warning signs on the 3-day. We do see 3-day Stochs coming down, which typically they do have some activity in this critical region for the bullish territory. Elsa's back. Oh, beautiful. So happy. Oh, thank you so much, Elsa. Oh my God, it's some brand new Finnish coffee. Oh man, I'm gonna miss this one. I really like this Robert's coffee. It's good. It's really fucking good. But who knew that Robert was a Finnish name? Just one moment while I take a sip of this coffee. Ah, there we go. Oh, beautiful. Okay, so 3-day Stochs, there's something to be aware of here, and this would probably be the most bearish thing on the board. So I do want to represent the bearish case accurately, although I don't believe that this is the one that's going to play out. And of course, more important with price action, the pivots are 11,500 and then 10,006, we'll call it. But when we get the 3-day Stochs into the more critical range, it does seem to me that they do get a little bit of love on the first bounce that they get off that critical range when they come back down and retest it. But in the past after that, as you see right here, it's usually a free fall. So, you have an example right here, comes back down, tests it after, just shooting straight up to the sky, a little bit of a bounce and then fail. Same thing right here, comes back down, a little bit of a bounce, or a pretty damn good bounce here, and then fail. Same thing right here, and you get the idea, right? So my point is that historically speaking, the 3-day Stochs actually don't like to stay up there for this long. And again, this would be the most bearish thing that I can come up with. And this would be the most actionable thing that I would say could point, into the lower 9,000s, upper 8,000s. I know a lot of people are calling for 8,500 or even 7,000 or even lower in some cases. And I don't really see it. I think that that's actually the more crowded thing to do right now. It seems to me like everyone's kind of arrogantly saying, we must fill the gap at 8,500. I've been studying gaps for 1 week and I read it on Investopedia. And you know what? Gaps must be filled. And you know what that means? I'm going to be rich, shorting this bitch. It's like, okay. I'm autistic, of course, but I'm not so sure about that strategy as well. And again, I come from, my background is as a market maker, authorized trader on the Forward New York Stock Exchange, ARCA. So I'm very, very familiar with gaps and used to trade them every fucking day. I mean, we have opens and closes literally every day. And with that said, yes, gaps are certainly very powerful, but it doesn't work like a fucking black hole for price action. It works as, it's more like, hey, if we get back down to that gap, and the gap in question that people are kind of referring to are down around here at around 8,500, then is the time to take action, but not beforehand. It's, you don't really take action beforehand. And by the way, while we are here on CMEs, looking pretty damn good actually. Again, as long as CMEs do retain the red 10 simple on the daily, we are above all major moving averages. We have them nice and splayed out, and I really like what I'm seeing here. We do see daily Stokes on CMEs also coming down this whole way, while price action has essentially regained itself, found its footing, and worked its way back up. So I think that that's completely fine, and I do think it's also worth mentioning that CME weekly dollar time frame is completely different than spot charts, and I do put a lot more weight on CME. So we came down and we actually filled the gap perfectly at 10,000 right here. That's why I bought, and that's why I was saying I was buying the dip at about 9,600, 9,700. Also confluent with the 2-hour 377 exponential moving average and also the 4-hour 200 exponential moving average as well, which we spoke about earlier this week. But now that's long gone, man. We have new price action every fucking day. That's beautiful, and getting picked up once again right here. And I like the way that this looks. And keep in mind that I do believe that it's a holiday for CME, so they're not going to trade today, but they will be open tomorrow for, at the very least, a little bit of trading activity. I do know that that traditional markets have a half day on Friday. They have today off, but half day on Friday, and typically nothing really happens on that. But if we close anything like this is going to be considered pretty fucking good, and they will close the weekly on Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's take another sip of this coffee. I have to drink the coffee because I get nerves flying on a plane. I fucking hate it, man. I fucking hate flying on a plane. I get massive anxiety, and it's really awful. So I take drugs in order to get around it. But it's coffee, so fair enough. People don't consider it a real drug, but it is. It fucking is, man. Try quitting it. Anyways, 4-hour on CMEs looking pretty damn good as well. In fact, CMEs look a lot different than spot charts right here. Spot charts close kind of a nasty a little bit more of a reversal-ish type 4-hour dildo right there. CMEs just looking like consolidation as we actually do cross the red 10 simple above the yellow 21, which I do like as well. So we're just getting more, we're getting that nice bullish splayed out attempt of all these major moving averages. And looking at our momentum also, there's actually still some room to go here. 4-hour Stokes still looking okay. 3-hour Stokes, a little bit more nasty. But let's go over to the 12-hour and daily. 12-hour actually haven't even crossed the upside just yet, so they will likely cross on the next tick. Of course, though, this next tick not coming anytime soon because, well, this one is on holiday. Looking at daily, same sort of setup right here, so don't really have anything new to say about that. But let's go back over and check out GBDC. GBDC having a damn good close as well, closing above the red 10 simple. I'd say that this is likely to continue. We do see daily Stokes down the whole way through, which after a massive bullish engulfing dildo like this, I'd say that we're probably going to start to switch that around. Likely on the next tick, but this again will not be traded today. 12-hour looking exactly the same. What about weekly? Yeah, weekly similar to CME, so not really anything new to say there either. But let's go back to spot charts here. And let's look at the expected ranges. So this is going to be expected ranges based off of historical volatility. This is on the daily. And we do see it lines up pretty fucking well with the pivots that we spoke about. On this first standard deviation, this greenish outline in here, that's the first standard deviation. It's the most likely thing to happen, 68% chance of happening. And we do see the range is about, 10,800, 10,900 to 12,500. So I do like that because overall, what we look at right on over here is the same blue box territories, right? We have the blue box to the downside at about 10,600, 10,700 that we broke out, I think it was yesterday. And then this blue box to the upside right here, which is about at 12,400, 12,500. So if Bitcoin does, reverse around and make another run for this area, this is where I'd be looking for first and foremost. 12,500 would be the target. I'd want to see a full-on deal to close in here. And if we can actually break this 12,500-ish region, I do think it's worth mentioning that the next standard deviation is actually taking us significantly higher, but it would likely catch us somewhere around 13,000 13,000. Although this one would suggest that we could go 13,400. Although, it is worth mentioning that's less than 5% chance of happening, actually. Or less than 5% chance of getting above. Anyways, going back to our extra charts, I do like how it matches up with the ranges, and we can put in another range right here, which I'm going to imagine is probably around 13,000, and we should have one at 13,004 to 13,005 right here as well. So tentatively speaking, these are the major areas that I kind of be looking at, tradable in all accounts. And of course, you're scalping. I mean, it's, scalping's paradise right now. These ranges are so fucking big. It's amazing. Anyways, okay. So what else did I want to talk about? Let's go check out the longs and shorts, albeit not too interesting. We do see about 21,000 open longs versus 10,000 open shorts. These guys are paying a high rate, so I don't really care about actually the amount anymore, just because you can claim positions, off the books. So it kind of destroys the insightfulness of this. But what is insightful is the daily interest rate that they are paying. So shorts are paying nothing. Longs are actually paying a decent rate. I mean, that's getting up there. 0.067. Certainly getting up there. It's consideration for people holding long-term positions. You're going to be paying out, a decent amount if you're holding about $1 million in contract position. That's going to be a couple thousand a day, perhaps a few thousand a day, perhaps. Not huge, but it's starting to get up there as I take another sip of this coffee, because man, it is fucking good. So before I get ahead of myself, there's also one other major bearish. Bearish is the wrong word. There's also one other thing that I would say is a little bit more apprehensive on continuation of uptrend here, and that is the fact that most altcoins are really not getting the same love as Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin has essentially rallied about how much is this? About almost $2,000 in the last day and a half. But altcoins not getting anywhere near the same love. So let's go check out Mr. Buteral. He's a good corollary for Bitcoin, and we see that Mr. Buteral is like just barely holding on right here. Now I do think that Mr. Buteral does rally off this area, but you see a very, 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 very easy way to manage these trades right around the 290.5 region right here. If we do lose 290.5, which is also going to be confluent with the yellow 21x benchmark moving average, then I would be looking for a move back down and sweep the lows at 275 and perhaps beyond. But 275 would be the target. But for now, this is actually kind of it's not actually kind of, but it is a trade setup right here. Well, I mean, you wouldn't have to risk all that much to figure out if this is going to work or not. And I'd say I'd be a buyer on this moving average right here. So if we do break to the downside, I'd be taking the loss. But for now, I do think that it probably bounces back up and tries to test around 303, 305 region. And if Bitcoin takes another leg up, I'd be looking for Mr. Buteral to actually not just get right there, actually right around here, right around about 313 to 315ish region. So that's what I'd be looking at for Mr. Buteral. But you do see, more importantly, that it's not getting the same sort of love. Same thing with Mrs. Litecoin here. Mrs. Litecoin barely holding on. In fact, Mrs. Litecoin looks quite anemic right here. If I was just looking at Mrs. Litecoin, I'd have to be bearish. But because most of this market moves together, it is worth mentioning that if I'm going to be if I'm looking for upside on Bitcoin, if I'm biased to the upside, I can't really. It's difficult to be bearish on Litecoin versus dollar. Litecoin versus Bitcoin, a different story, which we'll get into a little bit later. But for right here, if Bitcoin takes a leg up, I'd be looking for Litecoin back around 126 region. If things get a little more crazy, maybe 135 if we get a big leg up. But again, it's gonna be a little bit of a waiting game here. We do see daily stocks, however, crossing to the upside, and we do see them kind of defending against the bearish control zone. So I do like that. It's telling us that there is interest in this region, but needs to get some love sooner rather than later. I'll put it that way. It is kind of like a ticking time bomb right here. Let me just make sure that I left everything good. Okay, great, awesome, good, and back into the charts. Hey, don't do that. Going back, what did I just do? Am I on the right chart? No, I'm on the wrong chart. Ha, my bad about that. Did I do this wrong the whole time? Did I do this wrong the whole time? No, I think I got it right. Okay, great. Let me just make sure. I'm going to get rid of my other screen because it's kind of confusing me right now. I was almost under the impression that I've been looking at the wrong chart the whole time. Anyways, let's go back and looking at 4-hour time frame right here, it actually does look like it's kind of getting reaccumulated in this region. So the 4-hour doesn't look as bad as the daily, but the same areas of action apply. Around 122.5 is your resistance. If 122.5 can be broken, short-term target 126 or 125.5. Medium-term target somewhere right around about 133.5 region right here. So that's what I'd be looking at. Let's go take a look at traditional markets for a second. 298. So we have new highs on the year. We've been bullish on this one for quite some time, and I'd still be bullish on it. This is exactly what we were looking for. Nice little runaway breakout to the upside for new all-time highs. Weekly's looking damn good. We are in a holiday week as well, which typically things just float up. Weekly just having a fresh though across the upside, and this is what we were speaking about coming into last week. Defending on the edge of the bullish control zone. So bulls still retaining control and forcing it back up. I think that this one has, I think that this one definitely hits $300. I should not say definitely. That's a terrible word to use in technical analysis and trading, but I think it's very likely to hit $300 and probably beyond. Looking at the monthly looks very constructive and very good. It looks like a nice breakout is what it looks like. We do see monthly Stokes kind of in the same posture, and more importantly, we do see monthly RSI actually regaining the exponential just barely right now. So if we can fully confirm that by end of month, I'd be saying that this is likely to begin another big trending movement actually, and weekly is already there. So the weekly as a corollary has already retaken the exponential and actually working its way back into the bullish control zone. So to me, that would be a pretty damn good indication, and I would be leaning to the upside here. I do think it's worth mentioning that the reason why I cover this is not just because I think a lot of people watch this, but also because it does seem to have a pretty damn good correlation with Bitcoin. So I'm going to put on the correlation coefficient. As always, shout out to my man Bally Poor for this one. It's going to be represented in the purple histograph down here, and you can see that Bitcoin. So this is representing the correlation between Bitcoin and the asset that we're looking at, which is SPY, which is the major indice for U.S. markets. You see that they're actually pretty correlated here. So with that said, if I'm going to be bullish on traditional markets, I'd actually have to be bullish on Bitcoin as well. They do seem to have a pretty damn good correlation. In fact, for the past 3-4 years, they've been a lot more correlated than they have not. It's only just been a few times since 2015 that they were negatively correlated. For the rest of the time, they've been positively correlated and like really positively correlated actually. So I'd say that's quite good. And because this is looking bullish here, that would kind of transfer onto Bitcoin as I take another sip of this beautiful coffee. My God, it's amazing. Oh, you picked the best. You picked the best coffee, Elsa. My God, she doesn't even drink coffee. It's disgusting. But man, this one's great. Anyways, okay, so we looked at Bitcoin, looked at GBTC, we looked at all of those. Okay, let's go look at gold for a second. Gold, I still think does complete this trending move. We are in a consolidation after the first big pop. I do think, though, however, that we do have a little bit of downside here for 1412 going to be first target, but I do think that we actually work our way back down here towards like 1403, and that's where I'd be looking for a real bounce. I suppose it is possible that this thing does come down all the way towards 1390, although I'd be looking less towards that. I do think that it gets picked up somewhere in the low 14s most likely. Weekly, still looking okay. I do want to see this one close on Friday, but if it closes anywhere, if the weekly, here's what I can say. If the weekly closes anywhere on Friday above 1415, and basically where we are right now, and especially above 1420, which is also a great number, then I would be I'd be bullish on this, looking for the move to get extended. I still do kind of stick to my overall measured move of 1515 on this on this overall rally. I do think that the breakout is real. I do think that this one does want to get going. We do see all momentum oscillators perking back up, and more importantly, monthly RSI getting back into the bullish control zone after spending about 7 years in neutral to bearish territory. So I do like this overall. I do think that the breakout is real, and I do think that this one does eventually work its way onwards and upwards. But in the lower time frames here, going to be taking its time as gold typically does. Gold not as fast of a mover as Bitcoin, but they do seem to, they move like commodities, of course. Anyways, what else do we want to look at? Let's look at Link BTC. Link coming down to our area. We said 28. I think I said 28,000 yesterday night. I'd be sticking with that. Actually, I adjusted a little bit further down, about 27,500, somewhere right around here. I do think that we've, as we said yesterday, we found a local top. I'd still be sticking with that, and I do think that we have a little bit lower. But overall, I'd still be, long-term bullish on this. But we're getting our first potential topping dildo here on the weekly. So I would have to say that I think that we're going to go into a little bit of consolidation. 27,000 Satoshis first target. If things get a little more nasty, I would be looking for, if that area does fail, I'd be looking for a bounce at around 24,500, and I'd still be long-term bullish on this. But for right now, we're coming down and going to consolidate lower. So first target 27, second target around 24.5. Cardano, what's Cardano doing? Uh-oh, new lows. Oh man, but you told me that this thing bottomed out. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? I'm tired of this bullshit. This shit just keeps on going down. Well, Yeah, Bitcoin dominance chart bullish as fuck. We've been bullish on this one for a long time, or not on this, but on Bitcoin dominance chart for a long time. And again, the pullback that we saw a few days ago to below 10,000 was just a pullback exactly right to our support right here, and bouncing off that, I'm majorly bullish on the Bitcoin dominance chart. I think that this has more room to go, probably up towards 69.69 on the next tick, or sorry, not the next tick. I cannot say that. I can say it probably does reach that area over time. But in looking at the monthly, I like it even more. We got our first open and close above the yellow 21 exponential moving average, and if you were here for the last few months, you know exactly why that's a big deal to me, and that's one of the big reasons why I've been holding these longs for this long, especially the long below 51.50, and of course my botched up perp long right here, which was from 39.30, and then I completely fucked it up by rushing through a trade. So embarrassing to still be doing this kind of shit. So fucking embarrassing. But hey, man, it happens, and I do want to be transparent when that sort of shit happens, just because it's. I mean, if I don't focus, I make fucking mistakes, man. I make fucking mistakes. And in this one, a good healthy reminder that, hey, Krown, you are not better than the process. You are also retarded for speaking to yourself in the third person, not in an offensive way retarded, but like in the scientific, like you're being held back way. And yeah, I'd say that is quite embarrassing, but hey, shit happens, and we work forwards it and learn, and learn the lesson. That's always the best way forwards. Anyways, Bitcoin dominance chart, very bullish here. So I always use Cardano, and I don't mean to pick on Cardano too hard. It's just Cardano looks like pretty much every other altcoin. It's like that quote. I'm not like other shit coins. It's one of those things, but a perennial downtrend, right? Just lower highs and lower lows for the eternity of eternity. There ain't nothing bullish about that, unless you ask crypto Twitter and crypto Reddit. But to me, it looks like we just put in another local high and getting ready for new local lows. We taken out full all-time lows at 570? Nope, not quite there just yet. But the second that we take out 570 to the low, things are going to look quite bad. But I would be looking for a bounce. I would be looking for a bounce first and foremost around 570. And with the Bitcoin dominance chart looking the way that it does, I think that it's very possible for it to get there. More importantly, that would this also has carry on over into all of the other alts. Like I said, I don't just pick on Cardano to pick on Cardano. It's because it represents pretty much most of the charts of the altcoins in the way that they look like that. It goes without saying that the Cardano versus US dollar chart actually losing a little bit of its footing here. But I actually do think that it gets picked up here and we work our way back towards almost 10 cents probably. I think it holds this area. If we do, however, breaks 7.99 region on a daily, then I'd be looking for a full move back down to 0.062 as I take another sip of this coffee. My God. It's beautiful. It's glorious. Anyways, if I actually think this is a trade setup right here, and it probably does work its way back towards 10 cents. But again, do I ever trade this thing? No, absolutely not. Let's go check out BNB. BNB holding on to the 50 exponential. I do think that it probably does get a little bit of a pop back up here towards $34. I think that most things kind of want to hold these lows right here, and we're just kind of setting in higher lows right now. So if Bitcoin does get this next leg up, then we're likely to see BNB CZ coin working its way back towards $34. Would be first target. Second target would be about 35.5. Let's look at the weekly for a second. Weekly does kind of bother me just because the weekly did close last week as tweezer top dildos, which is usually a pretty good reversal formation. But so far, we really haven't gotten the follow through that I'd really expect to see. On top of that. Of course, so if you do see any sort of a break below $31, if you see a 4-hour dollar closing below $31, bad, probably probably has much more downside into the 28 to 27ish region if that were to happen. But for right now, I do think that it's going to give it probably sweeps the lows once again in this region. But I do think that it gets picked up here and tries to march on with the rest of the market. What about Zcash? Zcash, again, same thing here, holding on to the 21. I give it the benefit of the doubt until we actually fully break this. If we do break it, I'd be having a target of $92, $92.5 to $93. But give it the benefit of the doubt here. We do see momentum also is starting to get a little more beat up as price action is really just consolidating is what it's doing. Going into a 4-hour, another sweep of the $98 region right here, completely fine. But if we close a 4-hour dollar below $98, then yes, I'd be looking towards that low $90 region. What else do we got? Bcash, what's Bcash doing? Again, same sort of thing here. The area that it needs to hold is 390, anywhere below 390, and we got problems down to about 350 and perhaps lower. But I do think that this one pulls through, man. I think that it rallies back up to 440 and probably beyond. What about Tron Cash? What's Tron Cash doing here? Same fucking area, same moving averages. Everything in this market looks the exact same. The area to hold is 3.1 cent. Needs to hold that area. Otherwise, probably problems down to 2.9 region and perhaps lower than that. But I'd say, I do think that it catches a bid and works its ways towards 3.42, 3.5 region. Neo, what's Neo doing? Neo looking. If Neo even takes out the low of this Doji Dildo right here at $17.36, I'd say that we probably come back down to 1680-ish region. And by the same token, if we take out the upside of this Doji Dildo at 1849, I'd be looking for a move back towards really like $19 to $20. So a very easy way to trade this one right here. I'll just wait for that consolidation to break. EOS, what's EOS doing? Holding the same fucking region. Needs to hold about 570 or sorry 580. If 580 breaks, I'd be looking for a move back down to 530-ish region. Lower time frames. Holding on for dear life. If they do catch a bid, I'd be looking at a target of like 650 short term, medium term, somewhere around $7 most likely. Ripple me nipples. What are you doing, baby? What are you doing? Still holding on as well, holding on for dear life. Hodl it, baby. Hodl it with all of your heart. Still holding on to the same trend line that we've been in for the past couple months since May. But hey, until it actually breaks, I wouldn't be getting too damn bearish. If it does break, however, I'd be looking for a move back down towards 37.5 cent region. But for now, I think it probably tries another rally off this region towards 42.5 cent region. XMR, Monero, same thing here. Area to hold, $84, $84.5. If we do lose that area, I'd be looking for a move back down to 72.5. But I think that it tries to catch a bid here and works its way back towards 98, 99 region. Stellar at 10 cents. Yeah, this one probably looks the worst of them all. I mean, this is just one massive bear flag is what it is. Jesus Christ, brutal, fucking brutal. But I have a rule that I do not get short or I do not play something bearish as long as it's if it's like right around the weekly 200 simple or 200 exponential, which is literally right around both. So while I don't necessarily like this chart, I wouldn't blindly short it. And if the rest of the market moves up, this one probably follows as well. Probably gets back to 11.25 cent. So yeah, and I think that covers up just about everything right there. Let's go back to Bitcoin and start to wrap this bitch up. As I do have to get back to packing actually. Packing heat, baby. No, just kidding. I wouldn't do that, of course. And let me just take another sip of this coffee because before I say anything more dumb. Anyways, okay, so Bitcoin still within these ranges right here. You can play all of these ranges, but understand that the ones that matter the most is 10,600 to the downside. If we do lose 10,600, that's going to have carry on over into the daily. That's going to have confluence with our expected moves and likely end us up back in the low 9,000s. Actually, target of 9,200 and 9,300 over time would be very likely. Target of 8,500 would be probable. If that were to happen. I'm not leaning towards that happening, however. By the same token, Bitcoin, the big area to the upside for right now is about 12,400. If we can close above there, I'd be looking for another run towards 13,000 and 13,500. I do lean a little bit more towards that happening, but like I said, and for full transparency, I do have skin in the game on this one. I do have open positions, and I will be holding this while I'm actually on a flight. But I will have a stop loss. I will have a stop loss right around here. I do not want to fuck around with this one too much. If we lose 11,500, I want out of this trade, baby. I'm going to take those profits and run or sleep because I'm actually quite tired. But you get my point. So anywhere below 11,500, I go back to neutral here. And if we do lose 11,500, I'd be looking for another $500 move back down to about 11,000 even. But these intermediary areas right here do not really change the overall. It's the blue box territories that I think hold a shit ton of weight. So understand how those kind of lower time frames lead into the medium and the higher time frames, which of course we can just wrap this bitch up on the daily once again. And the daily just gets this one so well as well. You could really synthesize this whole talk down into literally just two moving averages. Hey, if the red 10 symbol breaks to the downside, I'm closing longs, and I'd be looking for a move back down to 11,000. However, as long as we hold the red 10 symbol, we are above all major moving averages. We have divergence between all of them. We have momentum oscillators switching around on higher time frames, and I would say that it's likely that we actually do work our way a little bit higher. until that happens. And of course, for a significant downside, we'd have to lose 10,600, 10,700, essentially the yellow 20-month exponential moving average, which I would then be targeting to move down here towards about 93, 9200-ish region, and perhaps lower over time. So with all that said, I do want to wish you well on this lovely Thursday. Happy fucking Independence Day. Enjoy your freedom. And also, of course, there she is. What's up, Elsa? Good to see you, beautiful girl. And you know, of course, I also do want to remind myself to talk about the programs which are on sale with the code Freedom20. So if you are interested in that, definitely, like I said, definitely check out the reviews and definitely make sure that it is, you know, something that is, you know, useful to you. So, again, I can't stress this enough. I don't have any intention to sell shit to people that they don't need because I make my money from actually trading. So I want to make sure that it's a good fit. That's way more important to me. If you do have any questions, just reach out to me. But like I said, I will have very limited connection, so I do apologize about that. So we'll figure it out, man. It's not a big deal. Anyways, my point is, hey, have a good fucking holiday. If it's just a regular Thursday for you, hope you're having the best Thursday possible. I'll be back on hopefully and on like maybe Friday if I get lucky, but definitely Saturday. And look forward to seeing you there. So take care and see you soon.